Let us start with some prayers. I will first recite, kindly repeat. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukkhamapnuyat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, lead us from unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. O Lord, let all be happy. Let all be healthy. O Lord, let all attain good. Let none get misery. Om, peace, peace, peace. These are two universal prayers which we can recite every day before starting our meditation. Swami Vivekananda says, reciting this prayer will help us to achieve a meditative mood, will also give tranquility to the mind, and will make us reach at a higher plane of existence, higher spiritual plane. And he says, at long last you will understand. In his book on Raj Yoga he says, at long last you will understand that the best way to become happy is to see that others are happy, and the best way to get peace of mind is to pray for others' peace of mind. So when we pray, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, let all be happy, the first thing that will happen is that we ourselves will get peace of mind before others get peace of mind. This is a psychological phenomena, but it is a deep spiritual truth behind it. Because the whole universe is holistic in nature, all of us are interconnected at a deeper level, and that is why, because of the sheer force of the law of karma, when we do good to others, good comes to us. As you sow, so you reap. So, once we start praying for others' welfare, immediately our own welfare starts. When we start harming others, either by words or by action or by thoughts, another process starts, and we in turn get cheated, get hurt, and get miserable. So whenever we get misery, whenever we get kicks in life, whenever we get suffering, whenever we have to face criticism, whenever we have to face harsh words, let us introspect what I did so that I am getting back these things. Somewhere, sometime, to someone, I must have uttered some harsh word which now is coming to my ear today. It might have happened 10 years back, 5 years back. So, this prayer has a very beautiful balancing effect and uplifting effect on our mind. So, we should start our meditation by prayer. Yesterday, we had talked about various advantages of meditation. Meditation for excellence. So, we said meditation for excellence in life means, first of all, meditation gives us good physical health. Many people go for meditation for only getting good physical health. There is nothing wrong about it, but we should not stop there. That is only the primary benefit that we derive. But most of the diseases, according to the modern physiology, modern medicine, most of the diseases are psychosomatic in nature. And that is why when the mind becomes tranquil because of the effect of meditation, automatically the body gets better and healthier. So Dr. Herbert Benson, the associate professor of Harvard University, after research of 25 years, wrote the book, The Relaxation Response, in which he conclusively proved how blood pressure lowers down by having regular meditation. And we had given yesterday a lot of examples how bypass surgery is bypassed by the effect of meditation. So, number one is excellent health. Second, excellent tranquility, excellent mental health. We told for stress management, one of the most important methods now employed is meditation. It has a tranquilizer effect. No tranquilizer can do that work which meditation does. It brings about a total revolution in the mind and bringing about tranquility. So for mental health, also meditation is very important. Excellence in work, excellence in performance by two methods. Number one, concentration of mind, which is the secret of success in every sphere of life, and that concentration increases by the regular practice of meditation. And second, the tranquility, the capacity of being proactive comes by the regular practice of meditation, because of which we are able to carry out a particular work in the spirit of detachment and converting work into worship. So, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is dexterity in action, efficiency in action. So, this efficiency comes by the practice of yoga. Each and every work becomes perfect. A person who meditates regularly becomes a perfectionist in each and every work, methodical, perfectionist in every sphere of life, in every, even smallest possible work. That person tries to do the work in the most perfect manner. We have seen with our own eyes many senior monks of our Ramakrishna order who had got their teaching from the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. They used to tell us that we have seen the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna and we saw in them also the same thing. They were so much absorbed during meditation that they forgot the whole external world. But when they came down to the worldly level, they were most efficient, perfectionist. Each and every small activity had to be done perfectly, otherwise you are gone. So much perfection. Even the smallest possible details, where a particular item should be kept, how the knife should be kept, how the knife should be held, how the fruit should be cut, how the peel should be removed. Each and every detail. Even Holy Mother Sharda Devi, when she will find out the leaf plates where to be spread, those times, even now also when you have a big celebration, we don't have so many plates, metal plates. So we have leaves. So those leaves were kept, but they had to be in straight line, 180 degree. 179 degree will not do. So much perfection. Each and every one. Why? Because during meditation they are perfectionist. So after meditation they are perfectionist. When meditation is perfect, the work becomes perfect. When the work becomes perfect, meditation becomes perfect. Both are complementary to each other. Sometimes people have got a wrong notion. Those who will be meditating more, they would be most negligent in their duties, and they will be doing the work in unmethodical manner. They will be doing the work unsystematically. Those who work unsystematically, those who carry out the work in a slipshod manner, will also meditate in a slipshod manner. Can never have concentration of mind, cannot have absorption of mind. Both are complementary, because it is basically the training of mind. The mind is concentrated. When it is going to a particular place towards God, it is going 100%. When it is going towards one work, it is going 100%. So concentration gives perfection, and that comes from meditation. So we told that meditation has got so many advantages, so many benefits, excellence in life, not only excellent physical health, not only excellent mental health, but also excellent work, efficiency, perfection in work. And we said about the calmness that comes. The calmer we are, the less disturbed our nerves, the more shall we love, the better will our work be, says Swami Vivekananda. So the calmness and tranquility will bring out that perfection in work. Excellent human relations also we told. Because of the emotional stability, the development of EQ and emotional stability, better human relations also will come through the habit of meditation. And then intuitive faculty will be developed. Most of the researches have been done during the time of meditation, during the moments of contemplation. And then we also told that, of course, the most important part of it is that during meditation, we come to know, we come to have the power of introspection, when we can know what is the purpose of life, what is the meaning of life, why are we living, where do we want to go. So meditation acts like a rudder in a boat, as Holy Mother Sharda Devi says, and that is the most important part, the purpose of life, why we are here. We have forgotten. There is the story of a Japanese boy, a servant. He was serving a particular family in a remote village in Japan. One day the master was out, so the wife told that boy, you see, the master is not here, my husband is not here, and there are certain essential items required for a household. Can you go to the nearby city, nearby town, and fetch these items? The boy said, yes, why not? So the landlady gave him some money, gave the list of items to be brought, and the boy left. Now he went by a bus, some transport, public transport, went to the town. Now he had never seen a town. After seeing the town, he was astonished. So many big shops and glass almirahs, show windows, and one after another he is seeing the shop. Then he went to the market, such a big marketplace, so many items of amusement, of enjoyment, and there was some Meena Bazaar going on, and so he saw there were so many toys, and there are so many magic show going on. So he went to the magic show. Then there was a wheel going on, so a ferry wheel. So he sat down in the ferry wheel and he enjoyed to the fullest extent whole day. And there were so many other parlor shops. He ate something like this. There's a big fair was going on, and he saw the whole town, so many items, and enjoyed with himself. He did not know how the time was spent. It was in evening, and suddenly there was an announcement made on the public system. This is the last bus going towards those villages. Huh? Last bus. Immediately he went to the bus stand, boarded the bus, and came to the house. And the landlady was ready with a stick. What? You were to come within 1 hour? Morning you went, and now you are coming in the evening? Why so late? Then the boy replied, what to do? There were so many nice things I did not know when the evening came. How the time was spent, I didn't know. Then said, where are the items? Items? Huh? You have not brought items? Oh, I forgot. Then why did you go? You went all the way to the market for fetching the items, and the main work you have forgotten. This is exactly our story. We have come to this world to realize God, to get infinite happiness, infinite joy, infinite bliss. But we get so much amused by the toys of the world. We get so enamored. Days and night, we are enjoying. Suddenly we find the call has come. Not a single second is given by Yamraja. Come. Gone. The main item of work we have not done. Aaya tha kis kaam se tu, soya chadar taan kar, samay hua ab jaag gafil, apna aap pehchan re. Kis kaam se aaya tha? Why had we come? We have forgotten. During meditation, introspection, we come to know the purpose of life. Why have we come? What is the ultimate destination? What is the ultimate aim of our life? That is the biggest advantage. And then we come to know, no, we have come here to get freedom from the clutches of ignorance, from the clutches of misery, from the clutches, bondages. And so we want to be ever free, ever pure, ever blissful. That is the aim of life. And that is the main purpose for which meditation should be done. And meditation brings transformation of character. So many people say, oh, I had that vision, I saw the light, this and that. Huh? You did not see anything during meditation? What type of meditation you are doing? It has got nothing to do with that. How many visions you are getting? Then how do you know? Somebody is meditating, somebody may be claiming, I am meditating very nicely. What is the proof? Evidence is this. A person who meditates, his character gets transformed. If he is having if he is telling high-fi things about his meditation experiences, at the same time if you find he is doing all sorts of business, nasty business and immoral things, know for certain he is not doing meditation. He may be claiming not doing. Why? These are two opposite poles. Two opposite poles, North Pole and South Pole. You cannot have meditation without purity of mind, without the basic fundamental virtues. You cannot advance in meditation. People have got some very wrong notion. Everybody wants to go for meditation. But now they say, not meditation, they want samadhi now. And that also instant samadhi. Instant coffee, instant success, instant samadhi. This is the age of instant. And there are people also who are ready to give instant samadhi, $35. You have to pay cash. Money back guarantee. Enlightenment cassettes are available, money back guarantee. So there is no dearth of people who get cheated. No dearth of people. So there are no dearth of people who enjoy cheating others. As long as there will be some people who enjoy being cheated, there will be some people who would go on cheating. We want instant samadhi. What is samadhi? Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbs of yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. Yama consists of 5 things. Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Ahimsa. Satya, truthfulness. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, continence. Aparigraha, non-covetousness. Ahimsa, non-injury. Niyama, Shauch, purity. Santosh, contentment. Tap, austerity. Swadhyay, study. Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender to God. These yama and niyama are the foundation on which the whole edifice is built up of the yoga. First, most important is yama and niyama. Then asana, then pranayam, then pratyahar, withdrawing the mind. Then dharana, fixing the mind. Then dhyan, absorption. And then samadhi, full absorption. Most of the people who are telling that we are meditating are not meditating, they are doing pratyahara. That is, mind is going towards the object, you are bringing it back and making it go towards the object on which you want to fix the mind. That is called pratyahara, not dhyan. Most of the time we are doing pratyahara. When we become perfect we get perfect in pratyahara, a time will come when we will be able to fix the mind on a particular pratyaya for 12 seconds continuously. Continuously 12 seconds without interruption. If you are able to fix the mind on a particular pratyaya, that is called dharana. And when this mind is fixed on this particular spot, on particular pratyaya, for 12 into 12 seconds, 144 seconds. That is more than 2 minutes, 144 seconds. If you are able to do that, then that is called dhyan. And 12 into 12 into 12 seconds, about 28 minutes and 48 seconds approximately, that gives you samadhi. And there is Savikalp Samadhi, Nirvikalp Samadhi, there are many other types of Samadhi. But it's not so easy. More than 28 minutes full absorption without interruption of even a single second. Then it is Samadhi. So it is a long way to go. For Yama and Niyama, say it is very difficult. Samadhi, very easy. Only $35, instant Samadhi. Yama and Niyama, very difficult to follow. Satya, my God, nowadays it cannot be done. This is not the age of following truth. The previous formula was Satyameva Jayate. The truth shall triumph. The modern formula is Asatyameva Jayate. If you try to follow the truth, if you try to tell the truth, then you will be branded as impractical. Be pragmatic. Be practical means everybody is telling the untruth, you also go for that. Truthfulness is not possible nowadays. Okay. Then, asteya, non-stealing. Yes, we should not go for stealing. I agree. Of course, टैक्स चोरी करने में कोई हरकत नहीं है. वो तो गवर्नमेंट हमको चोरी कर, हमारा चोरी करता, हम उसका चोरी करते हैं. टैक्स चोरी इज नॉट कॉल्ड चोरी एट ऑल. वो चलता है. वो चोरी दूसरे घर के में जाकर के चोरी नहीं करेंगे. नो हार्म in hiding your property and in having in paying less stamp duty while getting registered a land. This is the biggest problem for us, Ramakrishna Mission. When we want to purchase the land, we want to give the money, and that whole amount will be shown in the registered document. And the fellow is not ready because he said, I will have to pay a lot of tax and lot of stamp duty also. So most of the people, they go for 60-40. I was not aware what is this 60-40. 60-40 means He says only 40% the cost will be shown. They will give the full amount, 10 lakhs full. But it will be shown 4 lakhs only paid. So that the stamp duty will be less and that person who gets rest 6 lakhs by cash. But actual transaction is 10 lakhs, but it will be shown in registered document as if you purchased the land only at 4 lakhs rupees. I said, for us, every single paisa is counted by the auditor. We cannot make any payment. We cannot receive any money without giving a receipt. And we cannot pay any money without a receipt, getting receipt from others. So if you say 4 lakhs, I will have to pay 4 lakhs only. This is the problem. Then how to get the land? Nobody is ready to part with the land. But this is what we are taking. This is usual. स्वामी इसमें कोई चोरी वोरी नहीं है, ये तो चलता है. अस्ते में ऐसा करेंगे तो फिर अस्ते हमारे द्वारा नहीं होगा. Satya aste not possible. Brahmacharya, old fashioned things. Now continence, you forget about it. Now so many other things have come. Live-in relationship. Marriage is, even marriage also is not possible now. So now they go for live-in relationship. So what to talk of continence? They want full freedom, promiscuity. They want full license for going all about it. There is nothing immoral about it. So brahmacharya is not possible nowadays. The old-fashioned word. So it is gone. Aparigraha, non-covetousness, should not receive any gift. Oh, gift scheme, first we see where is the gift scheme. And birthday, we are eager to get gifts. But non-receiving of gift is a virtue. And ahimsa, non-violence. Yes, I don't do any violence. I don't carry AK-47 with me. That is true. But of course, there is another AK-47 here. When I tell those words, the other person gets hurt throughout his life. There, only once. But here the person dies. Not dies, but he lives almost like a dead person. So harsh words are coming out from this gun. So we are injuring others by our words. And sometimes they are more dangerous than the AK-47. So non-injury is also not possible. Yama gone. Niyama, shauch, purity. External purity. Sometimes external purity also we do not do. In India, at least, we have got a habit, most of the people, of taking at least once a day bath. Some people take twice a day. Some people take once a day. But I saw in European countries, my God, they don't know that every day is a bathing day. They have got bathing day. And Swami Vivekananda, when he went there, the situation was still worse. So he wrote in his humorous way that one old lady in France was brought to a bathroom and the whole tub was full of water. And the lady had never seen so much water in her life and she died out of heart attack. Jokingly he said. So that is why you will say, sometimes when you got cold, say, I have taken French bath. French bath means it is only pouring a little water, washing your face. Rest all the items remain uncared for. So French bath has become very important. So, but anyway, external purity. But more important is internal purity, shauch. So when we talk about internal purity, still more difficult. Santosh, contentment. We are never contented. We want to have more. One car, then we want 2 cars. One house, we want 2 houses. We want more dresses. Shopping is a very good hobby nowadays, very big hobby. And there are so many schemes where you take the items on loan, so it becomes still easier for go for shopping. So that is gone. Contentment is not there. Tap, austerity. Oh, we want comfortable life. No austerity. We must have air conditioner. Tap gone. Physical austerity also gone, mental austerity also gone. Swadhyay, study, no time. No time for study. Everybody says no time for study. Swadhyay. And there is no habit. Habit has been lost. With the media coming, TV and all that, now it is a worse situation. Nobody wants to read. Ishwar Pranidhan, no faith in God, how can we surrender? So Yama gone, Niyama gone, and we want instant Samadhi. We are weak in following the basic virtues of Yama and Niyama. At the same time, we want instant Samadhi, we want very quickly. So, and Dhyan is 7th step and Samadhi is 8th step. And we have got difficulty in negotiating with first and second step. How can you imagine of going to the, of jumping to the 7th state? This is what we have to think. So we have to go step by step. Whatever virtues we can follow, purification of mind is a very important thing. So that is why we will go step by step, and there are certain fundamentals that we have to remember before we go for that fundamentals. We have also yesterday talked about various types of meditation, techniques of meditation. One is Vipassana, that is based on Buddhistic style of meditation, where there is, you think of awareness of your breath, and there it goes, Vipassana. You might have also, some people, they attend the Vipassana Shivir. Then there is Preksha Dhyan, based on Jain philosophy, where you try to be a witness as an Atman, trying to see the various functions of the mind. Then meditation on a holy personality, of a divine personality inside your heart. That is also a very good meditation. Then meditation based on knowledge obtained from during the dream. If you have had some experience, you try to meditate on that. Then Vishoka Jyoti. These are all the various types of meditation given in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Vishoka Jyoti, a particular type of divine light. Then there is Roop Dhyan, that is meditation on a form. Maybe you like Ganesha, you like Ram, you like Sita, you like Krishna, you like Durga. So meditating on the divine form, on that image, there is Roop Dhyan. Gun Dhyan, you may not meditate on the form, but you may meditate on the great qualities of Hanuman. Oh, he had so many great qualities. Hanuman Chalisa, you try to meditate on that. It is Gun Dhyan. Swarup Dhyan. Swarup Dhyan may be, that is the basic nature of the God is infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite existence. Try to think about that nature. Then Lila Chintan. Lila Chintan is thinking about the divine sport of the incarnations. For example, you meditate on Ramayana, how Rama was born, then how he went for education, then how he married Sita, then how he was going to be made the king of Ayodhya, and how then Kaikai came in between, and then he had to go on exile for 14 years, then how he killed Ravana, then how he came back, then how. So all these things when you are thinking, this is called Lila Chintan. Indirectly, you are thinking about God, about Rama. So the mind gets, it becomes easier. Why? Because it is getting test. The whole Leela, very sweet Leela, very sweet, all the story. So you are going meditating on various scenes of Ramayana or Mahabharata. That is also a type of meditation. Or take up one shloka from Gita or Upanishad. Try to meditate on that meaning. That also is another type of meditation. Then there is Nirgun Nirakar. Nirgun Nirakar. Beyond time, space and causation, there is absolute reality. You try to think about that. Then Zazen, that is just sitting. Then Zen meditation. Then Koan. Then Nididhyasana. Then meditation on death. So that is particularly in Buddhism, they think about what is death. And they try to see as if they try to see their own dead body in meditation and standing apart. So there are various types of meditation we had talked about. We will not go into the details. But when we are meditating, I will tell you the process of meditation. Actually speaking, meditation should be learnt from an expert, from a guru, ideally speaking. As I told you yesterday, 3 types of meditation. Number 1, relaxation method. As far as relaxation technique is concerned, that you can learn from anywhere, from a short shivir or from some books, and there are CDs available, cassettes available. Sit down and calm and quiet, little relaxation, it's okay. 5, 10, 15 minutes of relaxation, morning, evening, that you can go. But if you want to go for meditation, not only for physical health, but also for development of EQ and SQ, and also for getting infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite existence, if you really want to derive that maximum benefit, excellence in life, then in that case you will have to systematically learn it from personally, from a teacher, from a guru. Till you have got a good guru, you can attend some of the programs like this and can also read some of the books and then proceed further. But don't spend more time. Just spend 5, 10, 15 minutes. But if you start giving more time, more than half an hour, in your own way, without getting the guidance personally from a competent guru, it may not be advisable. Sometimes some people come, Swami ji, iski kundalini upar chad gayi, ab niche nahi utarti hai. The kundalini has gone up, now it is not coming down, and he has become a mental patient. किसने कहा था ऊपर चढ़ाने के लिए कुंडलिनी को? So you should go step by step. Sometimes they go for pranayama. Pranayama is okay, only Rechak and Purak is okay. Nadi Shuddhi. If you take the breath for 10 seconds, take out the breath for 10 seconds, that's okay. Don't hold the breath, that is Kumbhaka, should be avoided. That gives rise to various types of psychic powers and also gives rise to various types of complications, sometimes ending up in a mental hospital. So beware of it, pranayama. But meditation for 10-15 minutes, safe. There is no problem about it. So these are all certain fundamentals that techniques that we want, and certain fundamentals, preparatory steps we must talk about. They were asking the question, when should we meditate? The best period is, of course, Brahma Muhurta. Morning and evening, twice we should meditate. Preferably 4 times, but at least 2 times. Morning and evening. Preferably Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta is approximately 1 hour before sunrise. Why Brahma Muhurta? Brahma Muhurta, at that time, there are special vibrations in the outer world, atmosphere. So during Brahma Muhurta, if you try to meditate, you get concentrated easily. So we should take advantage of the Brahma Muhurta. But how to get up Brahma Muhurta? For that we will have to sleep early, go into bed early, because minimum 6 to 7 hours sleep is required by a human being. And our lifestyle has come that we don't go to bed before 12. And if you get up at 5 o'clock, then there will be less sleep. And during meditation, you will directly enter into samadhi without entering into meditation. Sometimes they call, "Main to samadhi mein tha." Unaware of what is all happening around. So that is not samadhi. That is a very higher stage. This is all drowsing because of the lack of sleep. First take sufficient sleep. So try to go to bed early. That is better. Even if necessary, if you have got insufficient sleep at night, get up early in the morning, finish your meditation Brahma Muhurta, and then have a compensatory sleep afterwards. Or maybe in the noon, you can have a nap. But better to take advantage of the Brahma Muhurta. But if by any means, if you cannot do it, then try to do it as early as possible, immediately after getting up. Sometimes people, what do? They get up 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and the first thing they want is a cup of tea, bed tea. Then they will take a cup of tea, and then the second thing they want is a newspaper. So they read the newspaper, and newspapers, one of our management experts said, he said, don't read newspaper in the morning. The energy level goes down. Because newspapers are bad, Newspapers are sad, newspapers make you mad. So it's all sad news are there. Most of the sad news. Good news will not be there. It will be there in a very small way. You do not know also. What is the venue not written? Only program is given. Very small. But if a murder takes place, it will come in front page. So bad news are more, sad news are more. Now when you go through these newspapers, your mind is already full of all those negative thoughts. And then after that, you have your breakfast, this, that, and then you have your bath. And afterwards, you want to meditate. What will come in meditation? That minister did like this, that fellow died like this. All these things will come to your mind. So, when the slate is clean, it is easier to write. So, get up early in the morning. If not, whatever time you get up, according to your convenience, but immediately after getting up, just wash yourself. If necessary, if you can take bath, well and good. If not, don't wait till the bath is over. Immediately have a little wash, French bath. And change the dress and start your meditation. Ritualistic worship should not do before bath. If you are worshipping, there is some image, some Ishta Devata in your temple, don't go to the shrine and do ritualistic worship without taking a bath. It's okay. But meditation you can do without bath, with a little French bath. That can be done. Little purity is necessary. But in order that I will meditate only after bath, and before bath I must take breakfast, and before breakfast I must read the newspaper, and before reading newspaper I must do like this, and then the meditation comes only the last item, then you will find you are not meditating, you are meditating but on something else, not on God. So better start meditation early morning. If not early morning, whenever you get up. So immediately after getting up, that is number one, and the evening. Now evening, if it is not possible, then before going to bed, little bit of meditation. So these are the minimum two times we should do. We should start with 5 minutes, preferably 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes in the evening. When I start telling all these people about the advantages of meditation, then they ask, Swamiji, you are talking so much about meditation. Okay, tell me, how much time I have to give you? As if they are going to oblige me. I say, not much. Just give me minus 90 minutes. 90 minutes I cannot give you. No, minus 90 minutes. What is minus 90 minutes? Said, if you meditate morning 15 minutes and evening 15 minutes, if you give me 30 minutes, after 3 months you will find you are saving at least 2 hours by way of increased concentration of mind, by increased power of control of mind, by less of outburst of anger, less of quarrels in the family, less of visits to the doctor because of lowering of blood pressure. With all that you will calculate, minimum you are saving 2 hours. So you have given me 30 minutes, I have given you 120 minutes. So actually I am giving you 90 minutes extra benefit, net profit of 90 minutes if you start meditating every day. So this is the investment, minimum 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes in the evening. And 15 minutes to begin with, you can cover it into 3 parts. 5 minutes prayer, 5 minutes meditation, preceded by 5 minutes of good reading. So many people, they say, when we meditate, all sorts of things come and mind does not get concentrated. For that, this is the best thing. Just you saw yesterday, when we put on the song, the mind was in a mood to meditate. In fact, I had to tell you to open your eyes, you were not ready to open, because you got so absorbed. So it creates the mood. Create the mood by singing, by prayer, by devotional song, prepare the mood, and also by good reading. Because of the good reading, what will happen? Even if other thoughts come during meditation, the thoughts will be what you have read recently, rather than what you read newspaper yesterday. Because this morning, before meditation, you read that book. So this is the experience of many. So particularly the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We advise you read this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna for 5 minutes and then start meditation. You will find that even during meditation you get tranquility. Not only that, even if the mind goes to only Gospel, and it is nothing but talk about God. Sri Ramakrishna is talking only about God. Conversations of Sri Ramakrishna, which has been recorded in a diary by Mahendranath Gupta M, which has been later published in the form of a book called The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Gujarati Kathamrita, Bengali also Ramakrishna Kathamrita. So start reading that book. So 5 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of prayer and repeating the name of the mantra, japam, and 5 minutes of meditation, morning, and 15 minutes similarly in the evening. To begin with, this will be an ideal combination. But regularity is a must. Today I got up early morning, 5 o'clock. Tomorrow I get 6 o'clock. Day after tomorrow, 7 o'clock. No. Fix up one time. It becomes easier. It creates the mood. The mindset takes less time in settling down. So prepare a fixed routine. If you get up at 5 o'clock, every day get up at 5 o'clock. If you get up 8 o'clock, every day 8 o'clock. Meditation morning 6 o'clock, every day 6 o'clock means 6 o'clock. What will happen? The mind will get attuned. In our ashramas, we have a bell. Early morning 5 o'clock, there will be conch bell, conch shell will be ringing. There will be conch shell. So there will be noise of the conch shell. That means it's time for arati, Mangal Arati. So we go to the shrine. Then we have meditation, prayer, and then bhajans, and then chanting, Gita chanting, reading. Then another bell for breakfast, another bell for lunch. Then evening again, there is conch shell, evening prayer, then night bell for dinner. So what happens? The mind gets attuned. Sometimes when I am not in the ashrama, there is no bell ringing, 12 o'clock. The bell here rings in the stomach. Then I have to tell my mind, not here, Baba. You have to take food as the devotees will give you. You have to wait. It is not ashrama. You have to adjust with them. So, but the mind is now prepared to take food. The whole body is prepared to take food. And when we are in the train, all the people are sleeping. But we have got a habit early morning, 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock we have to meditate. The mind will say, let us meditate. 12 o'clock, mind will say, let us eat. So mind will get attuned. So regularity is a must. Regularity will give you success in meditation. And then yukta arviharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. You should be moderate in eating, drinking, sleeping. Buddha said, middle path, follow the middle path. Madhyam pantha avalambaniya. Neither too much sleep nor less sleep. Neither too much food nor less food. Moderation is a must, is good for yogis. Then ahar shuddhau, sattva shuddhau dhruva smriti. Ahar shuddhi is very important. Ahar is external, that is not only what we eat, but whatever we see through our eyes, through our ears, that food should be pure. And then we should also try to take advantage of the good vibrations. Try to meditate. Where should we meditate? Preferably in a place full of holy vibrations. A good temple where there is no noise. Meditation rooms are there, meditation chambers are there, very good. If that is not there, if you are not able to go to the shrine frequently, often, in that case, Swami Vivekananda advises, in your own house, have a small room. Small room, and put some pictures of some holy personalities there, offer flowers at their feet every day, have incense stick. Don't enter that room till you have bath. You have become pure. Don't allow others also to come. Gradually, and go on chanting mantras there, go on doing meditation there, go on doing praying there. Gradually that whole atmosphere will get surcharged with those vibrations. So what will happen? After a few days, when you enter there, you will find tremendous peace there. It will become an island of peace in your own house. This is the basic philosophy behind construction of temples. But that basic purpose has been defeated. There's so much of noise in the temples and dirty and all that. But in some of the temples and churches, even now you find the divine atmosphere, vibrations, where the holy personalities themselves have meditated tirthim kurvani tirthanti, tirthani, tirthim kurvanti tirthani. The pilgrim centers become more divine, more holy by the visit of these holy places, holy persons. So these holy persons have meditated, so that becomes easier. Now I'll try to answer a few questions before we proceed. There are so many other topics to be covered. Short list of good books to be begin with. So as far as meditation is concerned, there is a beautiful book, a small book, Meditation is Methods by Swami Vivekananda. Complete works of Swami Vivekananda are in 8 volumes. Now the 9th volume has come. This is a compilation of the various types of conversations and articles and lectures and quotations on Swami Vivekananda from various books. Very good compilation. So from here you will get some fundamentals. Then there is another book, Meditation by Monks of Ramakrishna Order. Meditation by Monks of Ramakrishna Order. Here there are various topics that have been dealt with. What should you do before you start meditation? What you should do after meditation? How you can combine meditation with mantra japam? How it helps? How the combination of meditation and prayer helps? How the combination of meditation and mantra japam helps? All those things have been discussed. And the photograph is also given. How our Kundalini Shakti, the power of Kundalini moves from Muladhar to Sahasrara. The diagram has been also given in this book. So this is the diagram that is given. Muladhar, then Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahat, Vishuddha and Agna. And here is Sahasrara. So the Kundalini Shakti, there are 3 nerves, Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. Here is our backbone. You put a figure of 8, 8, 8, one above the other. That is our backbone. 8, 8, 8, backbone. So what do you find? There are 2 holes. One hole, Ida is moving. Another hole, Pingala is moving. And from the central nerve of that particular backbone, the central nerve is called, that is Sushumna. Sushumna Nadi. And this Sushumna moves upward. It starts from Muladhar. There are 3 centers below in the lower part of our body. Muladhar, Muladhar, Swadhisthana and Manipur. These are the 3 lower chakras. These chakras, they develop in the body of a yogi. They are all not biological chakras. They are all psychic chakras. Then Anahat chakra, near the heart center. Then we have Vishuddha chakra, near the neck. Then Agya chakra, forehead. And then Sahasrara, on the forehead, on the head. So, the Kundalini Shakti, the power of Kundalini moves from the Sahasrara, from the Sushumna, moves from Muladhar, goes up, up, up. As you go meditate, as you advance in spiritual life, it goes up. And then when it comes to Anahat chakra, you will have many types of divine experiences, divine light, and it goes on till when the Sushumna comes to Sahasrara, then Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, then you get Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is the final goal of a yogi, final goal of every human being. Full absorption in infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite existence. So that is the purpose of a yogi. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Sushumna, it goes to Sahasrara, from Muladhara to Sahasrara, and there it ends the journey. So this figure has been given in that book. Then there is a beautiful book by Swami Yatishwarananda. It is a textbook for our course on meditation, which is being run by Vivekananda University in Calcutta. 6 months course on meditation. And the textbook is Meditation and Spiritual Life by Swami Yatishwarananda. So it has been dealt in with detail. So that book is also very good. And there is one book, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, about which I was talking before meditation. Just read for 5 minutes. These are the conversations Sri Ramakrishna had with the devotees, and Master Mahasaya Mahenad Gupta M. He noted down everything in his diary. Later on, Swami Vivekananda came to know about this. He said, oh, this wonderful conversation. You must publish it. No, it is my private diary. But afterwards, at the instance of Swami Vivekananda, he published this diary. It is nothing but the diary, published in a book form. and all intimate details you get, how Sri Ramakrishna was sitting, how he came down, and what was the whole scene, and in what what did he say, everything, in what manner he said. All these details have been given. In minute details, possible details, this has been given, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So you can start reading books like this just for 5 minutes, have a little bit of prayer or devotional song, and then start meditation. Then you will find the mind is becoming concentrated easily. Do you suggest Swamiji to read the below mentioned books in English if available? Yes. That is Yoga Sutra, Patanjali, you must read. Swami Vivekananda's Raj Yoga, beautiful commentaries there, that is Swami Vivekananda. Vedanta, there are so many books on Vedanta. Upanishads, Gita, Veda, Shastra, yes, all these books you will get, but don't go for elaborate commentaries. Go for simple translation, and then you can have your own this one. What is the difference between yoga and meditation? Well, it's a very important question, but a very vast, it requires an elaborate treatment. But I will tell you briefly. Yoga has come from the word yuj, Y-U-J. Yuj. Yuj is a Sanskrit word. Yuj means to unite. And from the Latin word, it has come from the word yoke, Y-O-K-E. Both meaning is joining together. Joining or union of the individual self with the universal self is called yoga. And we have made a caricature of yoga. All those types of yogasanas, we think it is yoga. That is not, that is yogasana. Call it yoga. I am doing yoga. What do you do yoga? I do yogasana every day, 50 minutes. That is only yogasana. Yoga is a very ennobling word. There was an international conference on yoga and spirituality at Lonavala recently. I was invited to give the keynote address. So I told, this is a misnomer. Yoga has been, unfortunately, has been toned down. It becomes such a cheap word. I am doing yoga and everybody do yoga and they are yoga, this one. Yoga is a very ennobling word. Yoga means union of God, union of the individual soul with the God, with the universal self. This is a very, and it requires not 1 or 2 months of training. It is a lifelong sadhana, lifelong spiritual practices. It cannot be done within 1 day or 2 days or 1 week or 2 weeks. But yogasana you can learn for physical, for your improvement of physical health, you do yogasana, I don't mind, but don't call it yoga. Yogasana, what you are doing is a part of only Hatha Yoga. What is called Hatha Yoga, there are so many asanas are given, 84 asanas. That is all right. Hatha Yoga you are practicing. You are not practicing yoga. Yoga is Patanjali Yoga. That you can call. But that also Patanjali Yoga is only Raj Yoga. Then there is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga. I told yesterday in my evening public meeting, 4 paths leading towards the ultimate reality. So joining of the individual self with the universal self is called yoga. And there are basically 4 important methods. One is a method of meditation, Raj Yoga, meditation of knowledge, Gyan Yoga, that is thinking and cogitating, Shravan Manana Nididhyasana. Third, path of love, religion of love, Bhakti Yoga, prayer, repeating the name of the Lord. And fourth is Karma Yoga, unselfish service, and trying to do work in the spirit of worship, Karma Yoga. These are the 4 paths leading to the supreme reality. So all these are yogas. But when you say only yoga, then it means Raj Yoga. But all these are also yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. When you say only, but in Gita, whenever the word yoga is meant, it is Karma Yoga. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, yoga means Yoga Chittavritti Nirodha. That means it is Raj Yoga. And Raj Yoga consists of 8 steps, according to Patanjali. So, in the book of Raj Yoga by Swami Vivekananda, you will get elaborate treatment of this Raj Yoga, this one. So, you try to read that one. There was confusion while doing meditation as under. Should we concentrate on the song or the Ishta Devata when we believe in? You have to concentrate on your Ishta Devata, not on the song. But if you want, you can concentrate on the song, I don't mind. Basically, this song we are putting on is only help to create a meditative mood, that's all. But basically you have to meditate in the manner in which your guru has told you. You must have got a master, a guide, who has told you personally how to meditate. You meditate on that particular way, or meditate on a particular divine light inside your heart, or meditate on a divine holy personality. So that depends on you. If you want to meditate on the song, I don't mind. But that song is very ennobling. This song that we had played yesterday was a favorite song of Swami Vivekananda and also Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda, both were great singers. Whenever Swami Vivekananda as a college student used to come, Sri Ramakrishna, Naren, please sing songs. Then he will sing many songs. And then he will say, I'm going, no, not before this song is sung. The same song which we listened yesterday, that was the favorite song of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. The last Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar, he wrote it. Though he was a Sufi saint, but the whole philosophy is nothing but Vedanta. तुझसे हमने दिल को लगाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है, एक तुझको अपना पाया, जो कुछ है सो. Inside every human being is the same divinity. The whole world is permeated by the same divine principle. सबके मकान दिल का मकीन तू, कौन सा दिल है जिसमें नहीं तू? हर एक दिल में तू ही समाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. ऐसा सर्वेषु भूतेषु गुणो आत्मा न प्रकाशते, दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्ध्या सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शी. Inside every human being is the same divine soul. काबा में क्या, देवल में क्या, तेरी परस्तिश होगी सब जहां, सभी ने तुझको सिरे दुखाया, जो कुछ है सो तो ही है. In the temples, in churches, in mosques, everywhere it is the same God who is being worshipped. Sri Ramakrishna practiced all religions by turn, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, and then came to the conclusion, all lead to the same goal. मंजिल एक है, रास्ते अलग है. जो तो मत तो पथ, जितने मत उतने पथ. As many faiths, so many paths. And this is the message Swami Vivekananda gave in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893 on 11 September, that all religions lead to the same goal, so there should not be any quarrel between different religions. क्या मलायक, क्या इंसान, क्या हिंदू, क्या मुसलमान, जैसा चाहा तूने बनाया, जो कुछ ऐसे तू ही है. त्वम स्त्री, त्वम पुमानसी, त्वम कुमार उतवा कुमारी, त्वम जीर्णो दंडेन वंचसी, त्वम जातो भवसी विश्वतो मुखः. Shweta Shweta says, O Lord, you are the man, you are the woman, you are the old man that is trotting with a stick. O Lord, you are present everywhere. Same Lord moving in various forms. अर्श से लेकर फर्श जमी तक और जमी से अर्श बरी तक, जहां में देखा तू ही नजर आया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किंच जगत्याम जगत तेन तक्तेन भुंजिता मां गृदकस्य सिद्धम. सर्वम खलु इदं ब्रह्म. Everywhere the same universal consciousness is permeating. सर्वतः पाणी पादम तत् सर्वतः शिश्रोमुखम सर्वतः श्रुति मल्लोके सर्वम आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere his feet, everywhere his hands, he is moving in